So it's recording and transcribing right now. Okay. I'll start by saying good morning, community college family. I hope you're having a good day today. I know it's kind of gloomy outside, but still it's Tuesday, so we're glad that it's another day. So just to get started, I'm going to record for those who just joined. I was not going to because, this is a conversation. And I know some people are really apprehensive about sharing sometimes if it's recorded. And so I'm going to share my screen also before we get started. Can you all see this? I'll make it larger. Okay, cool. So good morning again, community college family. Thank you to the first of the CRM sessions we're going to have. Today's session, Stacy, your hand up right quick before we get started. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so this is the first session we're going to have of the CRM training. Today is not really the training piece of it. We really just wanted to get some discovery, have a conversation about what your needs are. Because one thing we really want to make sure we offer in the community colleges going forward is to offer you the training that you actually need. I could sit here all day long behind a desk and assume that you need A, B, and C, and you really don't need that. You need something completely different. And so we want to make sure that usually before we do any kind of training, going forward, that I know I'm doing this to make sure that we actually have a conversation with you, to make sure that we have that. So one thing I did do is I sent out a survey, which was great. 32 colleges or 32 people responded to that. We also have a task force. So the purpose of the day's training is to find out what your needs are. We also invited a rep from Element 451 and a rep from Watermark. I tried to get Slate, couldn't get anyone, but I wanted to make sure that there was representation on the call to hear also what your needs are. So when training goes forward with those organizations, they keep you in mind when they actually offer those trainings, and they know what the benefits to their training are and what your pain points are on your campus. So we want to make sure all that's done. I need to do this. So just so you know, CRM has been a word that's been buzzing, or a term that's been buzzing around the system office lately I would say probably for the past year and a half. Colleges have expressed increased need to have a CRM, but they help them with their daily operations, help them engage students, they help them better communicate to their constituents, the prospective and current students, and also to better market their institutions and programs. The challenge behind some of that is colleges may have a CRM, they may not, but the ones who do also may not know how to utilize that tool effectively. And so what we're seeing is a increased desire to have training around CRMs to help you optimize the use of those tools. And so we have been in communications with the companies who offer CRMs, and we also have established a task force to, one, help us identify some of the needs in addition to this, and also to make sure that we're on task with what your needs are. If you look at this, trying to make sure you see it. If you look at the agenda, you'll see the task force. We have a committee that consists of representatives, from across the system. If you want to be a part of it, let me know. I can add you to it. And you see Ms. Central Casey from Wake Tech, Devin Ferguson from Forsyth, J.J. Evans from South Piedmont, Lauren Miseral from South Piedmont, Herbert Everett from Guilford Tech. You have Jeremy Gibbons and Sabrina Terry from Cape Fear, and Trina Davis, who is going to join us in the future, and also reps from the system office, Brian McCullough and Sonia Bartley, who actually are our residential, I know, colleague and banner experts. So we try to create that committee to better help you operationalize your CRMs. So this call is not me talking. I'm not going to talk for an hour and a half. This is a conversation. Again, it's a discovery session. So I really want to hear from you. And I know that our CRM partners want to hear from you directly as to what your needs are. So please feel free to jump in, say something. I hate being on calls when people don't talk. So please say something because what you may have to say, someone else may have the same idea, but may not feel comfortable saying it. So if you're that person to speak up, please speak up. So is there anything that you think you want to get out of this to make sure that we cover something in this discovery session? Just let me know. To look at the landscape of CRMs, again, as I said earlier, I would say probably about 40, probably about 45 or about 58 community colleges have some type of CRM, whether it be Element 451, whether it be Watermark or Slate. One used to have TargetX, but I think they're transitioning to something else. From the survey, we have several who don't have a CRM, and I think part of that challenge is the cost of CRMs, and also to make sure that they have a clear understanding what the CRM is going to do for them. We do have, again, I did a survey. And in this section, we're going to talk about the survey and about the convenience contract. So let's see, let me pull it up. The survey. I am tongue-tied this morning, guys. Please forgive me, my throat is hurting. So it's kind of hard to talk, and I don't know why. Before I go to the survey, are any of our reps from Element and Watermark on?
This is Margaret. I'm here from Watermark.
Hey, Margaret. How you doing?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for including us.
All right. My pleasure. It's Colin. You're on. Colin may not be on yet or today. Okay. So, Margaret, just let you know, we did a survey of the community colleges as to what their training needs are around CRMs. And so you see in front of you, at least about 34 of the campuses responded to this survey. Of the 34, 7 of them do not currently have a CRM. But of the ones who do, I would say 14 use Element, 8 uses Watermark, 2 uses Slate, 2 use Salesforce, and 1 uses CRI. Pretty much is a colleague process. They work through colleague and they use their tool to communicate through colleague. I would say the majority of our colleges have had a CRM less than a year, which has prompted us to do this. So because many of them haven't had CRMs that long, I think there's a need for the training, and some of them are. I won't say struggling. That's a bad term, but I think there's a desire to have better support on how to utilize those tools. 22 of our colleges are intermediate, 10 are beginners, and 2 are advanced. And so when we ask, what do you need a CRM for? The majority of them, and this part is pretty much standard. Most of the colleges say the same thing. They want to improve their engagement. They want to enhance recruitment and admissions. They want to streamline communication with prospective and current students, improve data collection, and reporting, and increase efficiency in student services. We asked what their top priorities are. The top priorities for them are communication, personalized communication, which are two different things. They want to they want to work students through the funnel. They want to collect data and forecast better. They want to optimize workflow. They want to automate. They want to recruit. They want to streamline communication, the communication track. Um, they want to recruit, retain. They want to manage, and pretty much it. The next question was, what does your institution hope to accomplish with the CRM? They want to increase enrollment by 7%, some colleges, which I will say we do need to create some enrollment goals, I think, for the state and the colleges, and we'll work through that later through a process with strategic enrollment management. But I think we need to do that. But they want to use a lot of them want to use a CRM to pretty much recruit and increase enrollment. They want to streamline the admissions process. They want to streamline the communication, increase enrollment, improve engagement, uh, boost efficiency by decreasing call volume, remove student barriers, enhance student success, improve operational efficiency. They want to increase enrollment. I said it already. This is pretty much more the same, all of the above. And let's see what else. Pretty much is pretty much the narrative goes on. Pretty much enrollment, communication, um, streamline processes. Anything else we want to add to that? Anyone?
Dr. Hickman, this is Natasha Lipscomb. I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
With the survey, do you believe that all of the participants in the survey were approaching the questions from a curriculum lens, or did they also answer for their corporate and continuing education partners? I know our
That is a great question.
They use a CRM as well. Wasn't sure if it was holistic or not.
That's a great question. I will say the majority of them answer from a curriculum lens. From speaking with many other colleges, I think that the majority of them have housed their CRMs on the curriculum side. It's either in the curriculum student services side or in marketing and communications. And so those departments, from what we hear, even at the system level in continuing education and CCR, they are not usually engaged in that process.
Okay, thank you.
Which is that's a great question. That's a huge challenge. And so Margaret, I know you're on from Watermark. That's one thing we hear a lot of about our colleges is that I think our continuing education, our CCP, and our CCR, which is basic skills, depends on what state you live in. They really want to utilize those CRMs in every day in a holistic aspect on their campus. But a lot of times those tools live in curriculum or marketing, and that's the issue. And Ann Baker, you asked the same questions. That's great. Andrew Gardner said, challenge the status quo and serve all. We need to, but I think part of the challenge is because our colleges don't have a handle on the CRMs yet, they kind of struggle with how to now reach across the aisles with that. So because I'm having an issue in curriculum utilizing, how can I use it in CE and CCR? Oh, thank you. So Nick says Haywood is currently working with Watermark to include Con Ed classes too. That's great. Next question on the survey is what supports are needed. Many of you said, 18 colleges said technical assistance, 18 said training for staff, 24 said funding and support. And 22 said integration support. One of the biggest challenges we're seeing with this is, and this is directed towards our partners who are on the call. The tool is great, but if they don't have an integration support, with these tools, then it's hard to optimize the usage. And a lot of colleges feel that they're the level of service they're getting needs to increase. And so that's something they really want. And so we're going to try to figure out a way to do that. And that's a conversation we're going to have about some conversations we've had with the system office on that.
Monty, this is Tori.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm bringing in, I would really like to hear from colleges. As Monty said, this is about how we can best support you all and trying to get the information to develop the training around things that you actually need, and we appreciate this survey. Recently, we've heard to this point is that many schools have the tool. They don't know, they need a lot of training and people to get it off the ground. Can anyone share an experience that they've had about launching a CRM and any things that they've encountered? We want to pull together some best practices or lessons learned from the actual experiences of everybody doing it, so that we can help whoever is launching these programs not have to struggle. So we'd love to hear from you all about onboarding these types of services and things that you ran into, or anything that worked well while you were onboarding, and what supports you had to do so.
And I will say we love the chat, so please don't stop putting things in the chat. But some people may be on a phone call, on a phone listening to this, and may not have access to the chat. So if you can speak, that'd be even better instead of putting it in the chat. And that's not to put you on blast, Darcy. It's just you just happen to come up as I said that.
I'm happy to speak. Hi, Margaret. We've been using Watermark. I'm pretty new to Wilson Community College. I've only been here about 8 months, but when I came in, I joined the team. Watermark was here about 6 months before I got here. And we're using it for all the reasons that you mentioned related to admissions and prospective students, data gathering, all of that. But my particular role is director of advising. So we're also using it as a communication tool across campus and in our advising work. And change is hard, and new software is difficult to learn, especially when we're integrating it with practices we already have. And so this semester, what we've started is every other Wednesday from 4 to 5, we record the sessions for folks who aren't able to attend. We kind of pick a particular feature of Watermark. Angela Herring and I take turns or co-lead those sessions on really how we're using that feature here on Wilson Community College's campus. And it's an opportunity for conversation and for sharing applications and best practices. I'm not saying it's made it easy, but you invited us to kind of share strategies of how we're bringing it to campus. And that's one thing that we're doing.
It's great. Thank you. Jay, you have something to say?
Sure. I'm Jay Eldred. I'm from Craven Community College. We're currently using Element 451, and this is actually my second CRM. I went through implementation with Fireworks as well. They have since gone out of business. The one thing that has helped us with our launch is having a dedicated person or team. I know that most of us don't have a CRM position on campus, but we were able to identify 1 or 2 people in marketing, in admissions, in IT, to focus on building it out, so that regardless of their other duties as assigned, everyone knew this was priority, this had to get done. We've since gone through that second implementation, and now we're setting up meetings with different departments and even with specific coordinators within departments to talk with them, find out how they envision using the CRM, what they'd like to do to be able to reach out and continue to communicate with their students and potential students, and then offer them a solution. That's what we've been doing.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna ask it multiple times during this call. What could the vendors and what could the system office do to help you? I'll use the word optimize the tool going forward. And that's
So-
everybody, you Jay too, but everyone else who wants to answer also.
Sure. So I'll have to say the vendor has been great. I've been making great use of. Don't be afraid to use support. I think sometimes we get this idea that if we have to talk to support, we've somehow failed because we haven't figured it out. That's what support is there for. So go ahead and use that support. Learn that system. I know even with Element, there's different tiers. I don't know what every other software is like. So sometimes you might have to find a creative solution for the problem you're working on because you don't have access to a certain module or something like that. But they're willing to work with you and find ways to make the product work for you.
Okay, great.
Dr. Hickman, this is
Yes, ma'am.
this is Natalie Winfrey at Montgomery. So we have a new Dean of Student Services in place who is going to serve as our watermark administrator. Some of the issues that we've run into, though, is it can be weeks before they can get an appointment with Watermark to get training on how to use as far as being the administrator. And when they do, it's a very time limited, cost us either credits or money for the training. And so this is kind of that issue when you have new folks taking over these roles. And so, with that, you always lose the history. You kind of start over. As far as our faculty and our student services staff, they've done a great job in trying to make sure they stay up to date, training one another. Our staff have really worked with our faculty on how to use it. We've definitely seen improvements with communications with students amongst faculty and staff, that sort of thing. One of the other things that we've run into is our Con Ed area. Those students are on a different platform. So not all of them are in colleague. And so that has limited our use in being able to contact those students. Of course, some of those are internal things that we've got to work through. But it's hard to register through students if you're using the Avances and those platforms, and then having to convert everything over again. But those are just some of our issues with trying to use it, having new folks in place, and then kind of maintaining what we've already set up.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning, Monty. I'm Colleen Falk. I'm the Dean of Student Services at Southeastern Community College.
Okay.
Hey, and so I think for us, we've had some concerns as it relates for implementation. We are currently with Element 451. We even hired a CRM specialist, so that person could be able to help with the implementation and the things of that nature. But we still I think our host issue has been implementation. We were promised one thing, and it just never fell through. And so we know we need another hands-on person, and that's what we provided. So I have a CRM person to run this, but we've just had concerns and issue with the company itself getting things off the ground. And a lot of things we found out that it's manual that wasn't manual. So
And which company is this again? I'm sorry.
Element 451.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Ms. Falk, when you say you hired a CRM expert, was it someone who,
No. I didn't
Okay.
say a CRM expert.
a
We
person?
hired someone to be our
It's a
CRM.
person.
A person
Okay,
to learn
So-
how to do this.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So-
We hired
So
a
they didn't
person.
have a background in CRM already or working with that specific CRM. You just allocated a position to help launch it or to help
Right,
work with
right,
it. Okay.
right. That's what we did because we knew in order to launch it, we needed a person.
And to help with the conversation, which is why we want you to all to speak up. Dr. Reynolds keep asking clarifying follow-up questions because we're having these conversations at the system office and we're trying to find a way or several ways to help you all address and identify your needs and and help you get through this. And so to understand where you are and where you're coming from, and if you've hired a person or you don't have a person, you need a person, or your person, you have one, but they're not an expert, that helps us guide the conversation in-house with our administration to say, these are what the college's needs are, and helps us, identify resources for you. So please keep speaking up. We love it. Margaret, I don't know if you want to say something. It looks like you keep your box lighting up. No.
Nope, I don't think so. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. You're probably speaking to someone in the background.
Hey, Monty. Hey, this
Yes,
is
sir.
Herb Everett at GTCC.
Herb.
Hey, I just want to say, we made a conscious decision to hire a CRM specialist, and we had a really good person who was already on campus who we did hire. And one of the things that she did, even before she started working on the project, was kind of digging in and looking at all the documentation, and she just took a great interest in it. She's done a fantastic job at our college. She's on the call if she is interested in kind of talking about her experience, but she has done a really good job in terms of training staff around the college. She's done overarching training. She's done individual department trainings. It's been really good for us to kind of have that person in place. We use it primarily for email communications. We're integrating some of the other modules as we go with applications. We're not quite where Wake Tech is at this point, but she's working on getting that implemented. And we're also bringing in some ways, some of our um, continuing education in our adult ed. I think Orna has posted something in the chat about that as well for communications. We're also looking at doing some alumni outreach at some point too, when once they graduate, and moving some of those into our next CRM that we're beginning to implement with our foundation.
Oh, great. So, and Herb is one of our task force members, so it's great to hear from him. What do you recommend, Herb, to colleges? Because everything you said was wonderful, but for colleges who are going to say, we don't have the resources or the bandwidth to do that, what would be something you recommend that they do?
I actually implemented another CRM at a university. It was primarily focused just in the admissions department. And having someone who is going to bird dog it for you, I think is just really important. Like I said, Orna for us was a godsend because she really dug into it and has made it her own. I think you need senior leadership who have a commitment to it. That's one of the things that at both my other institution and here, our senior leadership has been very committed to getting this implemented. The conversation evolves around element 451 pretty much every day, from admissions, enrollment management, student services. Everybody just continually talks about it. The cashier's office, we send out reminders about payments, and that's really helped us with um, maintaining the students who are already here. They see those messages that I don't know if they were paying attention to them before, but we really stay on top of that to get them to pay their bills and to get back into school. I mean, we've seen some real growth in the 10 to 15% over the last several semesters. So we're real happy with what is going on with the CRM.
Okay, thanks, sir. To finish up the survey, we'll get back to this and then we'll have more conversation. We asked the campuses what internal resources you needed. And this is pretty much, to your president, from your president on down to your support staff. So you say you need staffing designated CRM, which we just had a conversation about. You need training, which is why we're having this conversation, and we're going to work on that going forward. Buy-in from the campus community. I think, yeah, part of the challenge we're saying is it depends on where it lives. It lives in communication, it lives in student services. Do we have the resources for it? Is IT supporting it? Does it not support it? Does a work colleague, the CFNC support it? And so those are things we need to look at as far as the community and how the buy-in is there and funding. We've had that conversation, and I am going to show you. We do have a convenience contract, which I'll go over in a few minutes. What are some of the challenges? Limited budget, funding, data integration issues, resistance to new systems and practices, which that's pretty much everything new we have. Sometimes there is resistance on the campus. Technology capacity, technical expertise, old platforms and formats, such as emails, etc., and training and onboarding. And I did ask for additional comments. Someone said the network of community college system watermark users will be benefit. A network of system office watermark users will be beneficial. Again, we can do that. I think we need to probably have a network that's designated to each CRM we have, if it's Element, if it's Watermark, if it's Slate. Because I think you all have unique perspectives with one another and how you operationalize your system that you have. CRM training should be specific to the program we use, not just general best practices for all CRMs. I think this one here is general, and going forward, we are going to make the trainings more specific. So, we're going to have a conversation with Margaret to find out what trainings we could provide through Watermark. We're going to have a conversation with Colin to see what kind of trainings we can have through Element. So we're all going forward, we are going to customize those trainings. CRMs have been treated as the solution to enrollment management. I will be cautious that CRMs need to be thoughtfully considered, and a lot of attention needs to be paid to how, excuse me, to how an institution can not only implement or sustain the use of these systems. And you're right, CRM is a tool, and we do understand that, and we're going to utilize it as a tool, not the be all and end all of everything. And that's what we're going to work on. Data cleanup. Hopefully these trainings will cover multiple CRMs, not just Element 451. I just addressed that. You're right. That should not happen. Let's see what else is something different. Training, technical support. Those are mainly the different things that colleges need. Streamline colleague, remove barriers for institutions so the data integration will be easier. Brian and Sonia are working on it now. And as we have these conversations, we are having conversations with CFNC about the admissions application. We may move that to financial aid to have those conversations also. And so those are things that we are having. So that's a good point. IT support is crucial to successful integration. I did have a conversation with our vice president for IT here yesterday. And that's one thing we did talk about, is having a plan of action for CRMs. I can't tell you what that plan is going to be today, but that's one thing we're looking at. And so we do see that CRMs is just a tool, but it's an important tool, especially going forward with colleges to have it. So we do know there's a need for support from IT, and also not just support for IT, but also training. So that's the survey. Again, 34 colleges, not all 58 replied to this survey, but I think we have a good number of colleges to get an idea of what things, what we need for this. Any comments on the survey or anything you want to add to it? Okay, so next, many of you in the past have talked about the need for funding and or the cost of CRMs, how, it's not feasible because of the cost, the pricing is too high. And so what we did about a year ago is we sent out an RFP. Not all, to organizations who have CRMs to ask them if they want to provide some pricing to the system office for CRMs. I will say, because Margaret's on the call, not all of the companies that offer CRMs received the notice, even though it went out. I took that up to a communication issue between, because it went out to everyone in the country. So I guess if you're a company and you didn't know it was out there, you wouldn't know to look. And so they didn't know. So Margaret, when I show this is a consideration that you didn't get a chance to submit the request to RFP. Okay. I don't want Alex to get me later. So we as a system office, we did sign a convenience contract. The convenience contract was with Element 451. We signed it probably about a few weeks ago. So we're just able to provide information on it today. Now, mind you, I can't send this to you today because we need to get, consideration and permission from the administration to send it out to everybody, because I'm assuming we really want the presidents to see it first. Well, to have a copy of it first, but we did get permission to show it to you and show you the pricing on it, because it has been signed and it is finalized. And so this is the convenience contract information here. Let me make it larger. Can you see this? All right. So we did what Element did is they looked at the size of the colleges and I guess head count, and they based their funding on this. Just be advised that this convenience contract, this contract in no way mandates that you have to use Element 451. One. Two, if you currently have a contract, your current contract supersedes this. This convenience contract would be, for example, I'll say Wake Tech or Give or Tech. If you currently have a contract with Element 451, your current contract supersedes this convenience contract. But when you go into negotiations to renew your contract, if this convenience contract is a better pricing, then you can utilize this as leverage in your next contract. Dr. Reynolds, did I say that correctly? To make sure I conveyed that well?
I have no idea, Monty.
Let me be direct. If you currently have a contract with Element, don't worry about the convenience. This convenience contract is kind of moot a little bit, but if you're up for renegotiating your contract with them, this convenience contract can work in your benefit. If you don't have a contract currently CRM, and Element is one of the ones you want to go with or look at, this convenience contract helps you. Margaret, I say that because, again, a lot of schools may want to use Watermark or stay with Watermark, or, and so even though there's a little different in operations. So again, in no way are you required as a college to utilize this convenience contract. It was just we try to lock in some pricing with Element for those colleges who don't have one. You about to say something, Margaret? I saw your camera come on.
Oh, no. Nope. Just I'm here and loving and listening and learning. So thank you.
Okay. So, as you see here, this is for the Engage package, which I think which is the largest package for Element 451, and you see the system office discount per by the college, and you also see the year-to-year increase if you decide to continue the contracting going forward. There's a 2% year-to-year increase. And you see they utilize the head count from each colleges here. to determine how much the pricing would be. And so you see, for example, let's use Beaufort, for example. Beaufort has, based on the information that was provided, Beaufort currently has 4,181 students. I'm assuming that this is curriculum students, and not Con Ed and CCR. And then they said, based on what the head count will be today without a discount, Beaufort would be paying $76,300. But because of the convenience contract, they're providing a 42% discount. See, a 42% discount. And so Beaufort would pay a total of $44,600 for their Element 451 contract. Any questions on that, or concerns or statements?
Monty, that might include Con Ed and curriculum, because I was looking at ours and I think
Okay.
it does
Okay.
both.
Well, great.
Yeah, we usually sit just under 2,000, so that has to include Con Ed, I would think.
Okay, that's great then. So they use the total population. That's wonderful. And I would tell you all, we went through this back and forth several times with the company, and so things change. So that's why, forgive me for the for misspeak. Anyone else want to see theirs or have any comments about this? And the reason for this initially is, and Jay, I'll get to you in a second. The reason for this initially is because of the smaller colleges did express a concern about pricing for CRMs. And so we investigated this because we really want to help the smaller colleges to be able to afford a CRM if they wanted one. Go ahead, Jay. You was about to say something?
I was going to ask to see if we had Craven's numbers there.
Yes. Craven is here. Do you currently have one, Craven, Jay?
Yeah, we currently have we have the Ignite tier with Element. So we have
Okay.
one down from what that is. Thank you.
Hopefully the pricing was good. Is that,
It was approved by leadership, so.
Okay. Any concerns about this? Okay. I thought I'd have more conversation about this piece because this is one thing that you all have asked for a lot. Will the schools receive this breakdown? Yes. To answer your question, Trina, yes, colleges will get this. So what I'll do is I will go, I'll confer with my higher ups, Dr. Reynolds being one. She's my boss, great boss. And once we get to go ahead, we'll send this out to you all. We did confer with the business office, and it says ready to go out. But again, we don't know. I'm not certain if we want the presidents to see this before it goes out to everybody else. Jessica, what school are you looking at?
Durham Tech. I see it right there.
Yeah. Right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on this? Now, Margaret, you okay with this? Let's see. Going.
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. Yes, looks great.
Okay. Margaret, like, okay, let me go back to our leadership. Also, part of that is the needed support, dedicated support from Element. And that includes the training, development, which is why we're having this conversation, because we want to identify resources as a system and as a system office to provide you with resources and support. So even if you're, because we have had mixed, I've heard mixed reviews on the support that they're getting from their CRM partners. And so we as a system office want to make sure we are able to fill that hole and that void a little bit to provide you the support you needed. So it's good to see this, but this is just the pricing piece. And so going forward, we're going to focus a lot on the training and development of that. All right. What else do we need? So I think part of the questions that we had as a committee is to identify where your pain points really are with your CRM. Do you need help with the setup? Are you okay with setup? Do you need help with functionality, how to operationalize what you already have set up? Or do you just need technical support going forward? And so I'm going to ask you to try to kind of respond to that. Point blank, what would you like? What would training and support from the system office need to look like for you? How would, for that to be beneficial to you, how would that look? So Freddie, we need help with setup, especially, okay. Relate to CCP, okay.
With apologies for not answering the question that you're asking, I think the challenge is so much depends on
That's a
the
good question, yeah.
yeah, it depends on the product we're using. It depends on the purpose for which we're using it, right? And so
That's a good point.
it's a great question, but I think I need
No, but
a
that's
smaller question to be able to answer it well.
I got you. So you need a qualifying question, huh? All right. Trying to figure out how to do that then. You're right. And that makes it a much more difficult question, Darcy, because some people actually use the CRM in the marketing department. And so, and I'll go ahead and ask you to put in the chat. If you need help with the marketing aspect, if you use your CRM for marketing, if you need help with that piece, you need to let me know. I'm trying to, Darcy, you just threw a wrench
So
on everything
I'm
else.
gonna take a stab at it.
Go ahead,
One
dog,
of the
because I
things
need help with that one.
one of the things we really struggle with is 58 different ways of doing things, several different products. And we want to be able, our focus is strategic enrollment management, helping you get the students in, onboard them, keep them engaged, and help them to be retained. So our side is a little less marketing than what Nathan and his team is doing. We're really looking at how do we engage students from the beginning and help them along the process. But we can't commit to anyone. We can approach our trainings in one different way. We can say, okay, we're going to have a group of element people, we're going to have a group of watermark people, we're going to have a group of people who don't have any CRM, and we can try to say, here are some topics, and we're going to work through those topics based on what CRM you have, or if you don't have one. Or we can take the approach of, here is a strategic enrollment plan. Here is how you can use technology to support your strategic enrollment plan. But we're not sure about where we can have the best impact for you all. We've seen, kind of the approach of trying to do everything at once may not hit everybody well or support everybody well. And so we want to be a little bit more targeted. Are you more concerned about strategies of using technology to get to a goal? Or do you want more, this is the technology that I have, help me use it? And that's one question that can help us get
That's a
started
good
on
question.
our approach towards helping you with these programs. So we say CRM, but it means lots of things to different people, as we have been talking about. I've seen it used, strategic enrollment management from my experience with Watermark is helping us retain the students, helping us to engage the students, alerts. That's something that Element has not yet launched. They're looking at it, but it's not something that they use. Element has more focused on helping you create campaigns, creating events, getting messages out to students. Some schools are using it for applications. So is there a specific part of the enrollment management portion that you'd like us to look at with CRMs? Would you just like to for us to pick a CRM and do deep dives into those CRMs, or talk about strategic enrollment management in general and how you can incorporate different technologies? So any ideas that you have, if you speak up and let us know, we can pursue that route. And maybe we won't be able to get to everyone this first year, but it's really about applying the strategic enrollment management plans that you've had, and we're going to use a CRM or a piece of technology to get to that end. So think about it in that way. That's still a big question, and it's still, we have 58 different answers to each of those questions.
And
But
I'm
we need to
seeing,
know where
yeah,
you're coming from so that we're not wasting your energy or time um, giving you what we think that you may want.
and you framed the question beautifully, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. But as you said at the end of that, I'm seeing multiple um, answers, different answers to that. So that was a good point. So, strategic enrollment management, that will be extremely helpful. Training from the system office and how to utilize CRM for some. That is from Donna. Well said, Tori. There could have been a value in infinity groups organized around the major tech tools to help schools best implement them. Thank you, Brian. We're going to work on that piece. Again, that's the piece I've had a conversation with IT about. This is the technology. This is the technology I have. Help me use it. This is where we are currently and could use the help. Thank you, Natalie. Darcy, so yours. I appreciate the targeted approach to each CRM offer, as each CRM offers different work and opportunities. So we got different answers even on that. And so the thing we're looking at with this is we're going to take all this back. Again, these are things we've heard. We just needed to get some confirmation from you all on that. And what we're going to do, we're going to take it from a multiple approach lens. We're going to work with our IT department to see if they can identify some resources or persons. And that's conversation we have. If we can find a consultant to go around and help you out with that, that's something we're going to look at. We're going to work with our vendors to see if they can offer us some specified supports from those vendors. Again, we're going to have a conversation with Margaret to see, is there something that Watermark can offer to those colleges, something that for those colleges who use Element, if Element can provide some training and development. We've had that conversation already, and we're going to continue that. And so we're going to take it from that approach on things also. So a multiple prong approach. So even though your answers are what's the word I'm looking for, are different, we're going to go ahead and try to address it from each avenue of the challenge. Any other questions? 'Cause I think we're running out of time on this.
And my final thing, you all, one thing that we have discussed in some meetings was we have some schools that are doing very well at using CRMs, but what I've heard from those schools, the key has been having an individual who is able to navigate the system, and also having the resources such as IT, having expertise in being able to launch it. So one of the things that we have been considering is hiring a consultant or hiring someone to go to colleges to help them with those launching points. And that's an expensive entity, and it's also hard because we each have different services. But I'd like to hear, would that be a benefit to anyone if we had an expert on Watermark and an expert on Element and sent them to your college for maybe a week to help you launch some of the projects that they have been successful in doing at some of our more experienced colleges? Is that something that we should pursue and look after? And I'm seeing a couple yeses. Okay.
Couple yeses, yeah.
Yeah.
Alexis, you about to say something? Oh, she's thumbs up. Okay.
I'll come off mic again. I feel like I'm talking too much, but you were
Darcy, I love
encouraging
you.
it.
Yeah, go ahead. Monopolize. Go ahead. We love
I
it.
was typing the question, then I was like, it'll be faster to talk. When you say expert, do you mean an expert from Watermark? Or do you mean an expert from another campus that has been using Watermark? Because to answer that question, we've got lots of support from Watermark. What I would love is someone from the system that's been using it well, so that we're not recreating the wheel for how to use Watermark here. So
We're
I
talking
have
about-
lots of support
yeah.
from Watermark. I would love support from others with that are doing this work here.
So,
in one of the
Darcy, what
58.
you're saying is I need to steal Brian and Jay's team members and send them out to your colleges. Yes, I was thinking on the lines of what you're speaking about, someone who is experienced in using it, because what I've heard for some colleges and also for some presidents is the biggest thing is integrating it with our existing systems. And so
Mhm.
they have a great product, but figuring out which fields to pull from colleague, which how to set up ethos and different things at the colleges would be very helpful, and we could benefit from people who have already gone through those processes. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a conversation we've been having the past few weeks. But again, it's funding. And that's been the biggest challenge on that. How much would it cost and can we identify the funding for that? Now, Jessica gave a good point. The opportunity to brainstorm and share best practices among colleges. Now, that's something, again, we do have a task force and we have talked about that. And so is that something, again, would that be in person, online? How would that best suit that endeavor? Because again, yeah, you all don't talk online a lot. When you get in person, the floodgates open. But if you get online, you don't say a lot. And so if we have that conversation, especially for best practices, we're gonna need to hear what your challenges are. Um, and so we're gonna need you to say it, what the problem is, because we can't address it if we don't know it. And that's one thing that we did hear from the task force. If we have this conversation, we need to know what the challenges are. Before implementing your CRM, it might be helpful to define your current systems. Ask your recruiters, admissions teams, advisors, and instructors how they are managing their work and caseloads. That will help define your CRM priorities and help manage it. Let CRM serve your purpose rather than trying to fit your system to the CRM. And that's from Nick, and that's a great point, Nick. I think because we have this vision of what CRM is and what it can do, we're trying to make our workflows fit into the CRM, and we shouldn't do that. So, a good point. And so, we're going to kind of close this out a little bit. We will, again, to Dr. Reynolds' point, we are going to have a conversation some more in the system office and identify where your needs fit into what we can do, or what we can do fit into your needs. And the task force is going to continue to work with them and ask them if they can go ahead and identify some times and some spaces that we can have these conversations amongst users, identify users. And then we're going to work with IT to see if we can go ahead and identify Darcy, like Dr. Reynolds said, we're going to try to identify some supports from the system office level to help you all with that. Let's see. Try to read the chat at the same time. Before we close out, is there anything else you all want to say or express? Oh, also, I didn't ask, would it be helpful for the smaller colleges the kind to identify what your specific unique needs are. The larger colleges, again, to the benefit of Wake Tech, Forsyth Tech, Gifford Tech, those larger ones, they may have the resources, but we're hearing that the smaller ones don't have. So we need to identify the unique needs of the smaller colleges and make sure you're getting what you need also. So I don't know, would that be helpful?
Monty, this is Colleen. I'm reading the stuff in the chat and just listening to the call. I think that would be very helpful. I called one of my counterparts here. You were mentioning saying people wasn't saying anything. And I don't know if people feel this way who aren't saying anything, who have a program, but after all of some of these good reviews about these systems that other people are having, and then we're coming on talking about the challenges is a little challenging.
Got
And
you.
so that's why some of us may not be saying nothing because I'm excited to hear what the same program I'm paying for another institution is having a great experience with it, and I'm not. And I think I've been in the program longer than they have
Oh,
using
wow.
the tool. So
Mhm.
so I mean, after listening to that, I said, wow, do I have a black hole over here on me?
You kind of shut
Because
down a little bit.
I was like,
So
what in the world? So I know you shut down, but I'm just saying that may be the case why people may not be talking
got you.
because some of them are having great experiences and others are not. So
Okay.
you might want to have a smaller conversation for smaller schools.
Okay. So I'm gonna lay it out there like this then. Forget the niceties and the executive politics we have. Um, Even if our vendors are on, some of the colleges are expressing a concern. This is what I'm hearing, are expressing a concern for one, lack of implementation support from some of the vendors. Not point fingers at which vendors, but lack of support from the vendors. They're expressing concern that they're of the communication and the continued communication and support and contact from the vendors. The vendors may um, the vendors may provide adequate support maybe the first 2 weeks, but then once something happens and they call a vendor for support, the vendor's nowhere to be found. Correct, Colleen? Is that something that?
Yes, that's something we've
Okay,
experienced. Yes.
okay. And so they also are saying, well, everyone is, ma'am? Oh, the concern is also that everyone is saying that the tool is great. They're going to these conferences and they're hearing all how great the tool is, and they're drinking the Kool-Aid. But once they pay for this tool and they get into the process of implementation, they're getting the exact opposite support that they heard at the conference. Correct, Colleen? And I'm,
Correct. You summed it up
and
well
I,
for
no, no,
us.
and I'm saying you because you
No, I
were the one who said
understand.
it.
You're right.
So this is why we're doing this. And having this conversation. And this is why, as Dr. Reynolds said, we're trying to identify supports and we're trying to identify the convenience contract would have been great because it's just funding and pricing and, gave you a great price. But we're having this conversation and we're trying to identify the needs in this respect because we're hearing these things that colleges are not getting the support that they need. So what good is a tool if you can't use it well? And so we want to identify where your pain points are, where your challenges are, where your voids are. So we as a system office, since we're having these conversations and we're facilitating all these things at conferences and stuff, we feel kind of responsible. And so we want to make sure that we as a system, as a state, provide you the supports that you need. And so, to your point, Colleen, you're right, and that's great. We need to. I don't want you to feel like because you're hearing great things over here that you can't talk about the bad things on the other side. We need to hear that, and we know. Really, be honest with you, those are things we want to hear more than anything else because that helps us identify uh, what we need to provide to you to support for support. And so. Um, and so just know going forward, if I want you to talk, please talk, because I want to hear what's wrong. We're not going to take it personally, and hopefully the vendors won't either. Hopefully it helps them make a better product or provide better support to their clients. So we really want to hear this. And go ahead, man. You had something to say? Oh, you're just coughing. Okay. Patricia, I'll send this out. I'll send the recording out to you all after this. Send all. Oh. Send all complaints to me. Yes, Dr. Reynolds says send all the complaints to me. Oh, she rags me so hard. So anything you want to say, if you didn't want to speak on this call, but you have something you want to say, you can email me. That's fine. Or give me a call. I prefer email. And I'd love to hear from you because again, the whole point is to make sure you have what you need. We're going to go forward after this call. We're going to work with the task force to keep identifying your needs. We're going to keep working internally to make sure you have what you need. And we're going to work with make sure we work with curriculum, Con Ed, and CCR to make sure this tool is what it needs to be for all areas. And so the training will focus, some will focus on the vendor and some will focus on the task. And then we're going to try to have trainings and focuses on different areas also, like CCRCE, because we really don't want them to get lost and it just be a curriculum tool. So if you have no other questions, thank you for being on today and taking your time. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll provide you a product that you need. And I'm gonna stay on for a few minutes after this, after I say goodbye, because I'm saying goodbye, but I'll stay on for a couple minutes in case you want to have a conversation after this without everyone hearing it. So I'll stay on for maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Thanks, Monty. Appreciate you.
Y'all have
Thank
a
you,
great
Herb.
day. Have a great week.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Monty. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
You all are wonderful. Again, I'm gonna stay on for a little bit in case you have something you want to say. So those two are still on. You have something you want to talk about? Well, you doing other work. Didn't know the call ended. Teresa, Laura, Tanisha, you there?